What if one day you travel abroad, book your return ticket, land at a UK airport, and are told you cannot come back into your own country? It sounds impossible, even illegal. But after April 2026, new border systems and quiet policy changes mean this scenario is no longer unthinkable. In fact, thousands of travelers are already being stopped worldwide every year because a computer system flags their details before they even reach passport control. Here's the shocking truth. Modern borders are no longer run by people, they're run by data. Airlines, automated gates, and central databases decide who boards a plane and who doesn't. A small passport issue, a data mismatch, or a hidden flag can stop you before you even leave the departure airport. And once the system says no, there is usually no argument, no explanation, and no instant fix. So ask yourself this seriously. Are you absolutely certain nothing in your records could block you? Because in this video, we'll reveal 10 real reasons British citizens could be locked out after April 2026, and the final ones are the most shocking. Stay with me. Number 1. Passport validity rules that stop you before you fly. Most British citizens assume that as long as they have a passport, they can always come home. But after April 2026, that assumption can fail at the airport gate. Passport validity rules are becoming stricter, and the first line of enforcement is no longer the UK border officer. It's the airline check-in desk and automated travel systems. Here's what's changed quietly. Airlines are legally responsible for checking whether a passenger meets entry requirements. If your passport is expired, damaged, or close to expiry, the system can flag you as a risk. In many cases, airlines will refuse boarding, not because you're not British, but because transporting you could result in fines and penalties. This decision is often guided by automated checks linked to databases used by the UK Home Office, meaning staff follow the screen, not personal explanations. What makes this dangerous is how ordinary the mistakes are. A passport that looks fine but has a damaged chip. A document expiring in a few months that doesn't meet airline rules. A renewal submitted but not yet processed. People only discover the problem when their boarding pass won't print. At that moment, there is no appeal desk and no emergency fix. The flight leaves without you. The practical protection is simple but critical. Check your passport well in advance, not weeks but months before travel. If there's damage, replace it immediately. Never assume, I'm a citizen so I'll be allowed in. In today's system, the journey can end before it begins. Ask yourself this honestly. If you booked a flight tomorrow, are you 100% sure your passport would pass every automated check? If you never want to face the shock of being locked out of your own country, subscribe now, because staying informed today could protect your right to return home tomorrow. Number 2. Automated border systems that don't make exceptions. Airports are no longer controlled mainly by officers behind desks, they're controlled by machines. After April 2026, the UK's border process is expected to rely even more on automated gates, digital identity checks, and real-time data screening. And here's the problem. Machines don't listen to explanations. They don't consider personal stories. They follow programmed rules. Modern border systems cross-check your passport against multiple databases in seconds. Travel history, watch lists, identity records, and document validity are scanned automatically. These systems operate in coordination with agencies overseen by the UK Home Office. If the system detects a mismatch, even something small like a name variation, outdated record, or technical error, it can trigger a refusal before a human even reviews the case. What makes this risky is that automation removes flexibility. In the past, an officer might listen, review documents, and make a judgment call. Today, an automated gate simply stays closed. Airline staff see a red warning. Security is alerted. And once you're flagged, resolving the issue may require formal review processes that cannot be completed on the spot. That means missed flights, stranded families, and no immediate solution. So what can you do? Ensure your personal records are consistent everywhere. Passport details, travel bookings, legal name spelling, and previous documents. If you've changed your name, nationality details, or passport recently, confirm records are updated. Because in an automated border world, one data error can act like a locked door. Now ask yourself, if a machine judged your entry in 3 seconds today, would everything match perfectly? If you never want to face the shock of being locked out of your own country, subscribe now, because staying informed today could protect your right to return home tomorrow. Number 3. Airline rules that can block you before the UK border. Most people think the final decision happens at passport control, but for many travelers, the real decision is made at the airline counter. Airlines are now a powerful gatekeeper, and after April 2026, their role in deciding who gets on a plane is only increasing. This means you can be stopped outside the UK without ever seeing a British border officer. Here's why this matters. Airlines face heavy fines and penalties if they transport passengers who later face entry problems. To protect themselves, airlines follow strict checklists and automated systems linked to government databases connected with the UK Home Office. If their system flags a risk, passport issues, data mismatches, or unclear status, the airline often refuses boarding immediately. Staff are trained not to debate or override the system. What makes this especially frustrating is that airline staff are not immigration experts, yet their decision can end your journey. A minor document issue, a technical error, or even uncertainty can lead to denial. You might hear phrases like system restriction or we can't clear you, with no detailed explanation. At that point, your ticket is useless, and customer service can't fix it. The best defense is preparation. Confirm airline-specific travel rules, check your passport carefully, and arrive early to handle issues before boarding closes. Keep digital and printed copies of essential documents. While being a British citizen gives you the right to enter the UK, airline enforcement can stop you long before you reach British soil. Ask yourself this. If an airline employee had to decide your boarding in minutes today, would everything look clear and risk-free? If you never want to face the shock of being locked out of your own country, subscribe now, because staying informed today could protect your right to return home tomorrow. Number 4. Watchlists, sanctions, and name matches you never knew about. One of the most frightening reasons citizens can be blocked is also the hardest to predict, being flagged by a system you didn't even know existed. After April 2026, border checks rely more heavily on watchlists, sanctions databases, and risk indicators designed for speed, not context. And that's where ordinary people can get caught. Here's how it happens. Border and airline systems automatically compare your details, name, date of birth, nationality, travel history, against multiple databases used by authorities overseen by the UK Home Office. If your name closely matches someone on a watch list, or your details resemble a restricted individual, the system may flag you. This is called a false positive, and it happens more often than people think, especially with common names. What makes this so dangerous is timing. These flags usually appear at check-in or at automated gates, not weeks in advance. There's no quick way to prove you're not the person the system suspects. Staff are trained to follow alerts, not investigate them. Even if the issue is a mistake, the journey stops immediately. Clearing your name can take days, weeks, or longer, long after your flight has departed. The practical step most people never take is pre-checking and documentation. If you have a common name, multiple nationalities, or past travel to sensitive regions, keep extra identification and travel records. If you've ever been delayed repeatedly at borders, that's a warning sign, not bad luck. In a data-driven border system, patterns matter more than explanations. So think carefully. If your name were matched against millions of records today, are you sure it wouldn't look like someone else's? If you never want to face the shock of being locked out of your own country, subscribe now, because staying informed today could protect your right to return home tomorrow. Number 5. Hidden legal or financial flags that trigger travel blocks. Many British citizens are shocked to learn that unresolved legal or financial issues, sometimes forgotten or unknown, can quietly interfere with their ability to travel. After April 2026, border systems are expected to rely more on real-time data checks, meaning old problems can suddenly become very relevant at the worst possible moment. Here's how people get caught off guard. Outstanding court fines, unpaid penalties, missed jury service notices, or unresolved warrants can exist without constant reminders. These records sit in databases and can resurface during automated screening. When travel systems cross-check identities, any unresolved legal marker can trigger extra scrutiny or even a temporary stop. Oversight of these checks ultimately links back to authorities working with the UK Home Office, meaning the decision can happen fast and without explanation at the airport. What makes this especially dangerous is that many flags are administrative, not criminal. A forgotten traffic fine, an address mismatch that caused mail to go unanswered, a civil matter you thought was closed. None of these feel serious enough to stop travel until a system treats them as unresolved risks. At that point, staff cannot simply let it go. The alert exists, and procedures must be followed. The practical solution is awareness and prevention. Regularly check for outstanding fines, court notices, or legal obligations, especially if you've moved frequently or lived abroad. Keep your address updated across official records. If something looks unresolved, deal with it early. Because in a digital border era, small, unresolved issues can suddenly become big barriers. Ask yourself honestly, is there anything in your records, financial or legal, that you've assumed was too minor to matter? If you never want to face the shock of being locked out of your own country, subscribe now, because staying informed today could protect your right to return home tomorrow. Number 6. Dual nationality confusion that triggers border denial. Holding more than one nationality feels like freedom, but after April 2026, it can quietly become a liability if used incorrectly. Many British citizens also carry another passport, and a simple mistake in which document you use, when, and where can cause serious border problems. The system doesn't guess your intentions, it judges your records. Here's where things go wrong. Travel systems track entries and exits by passport number. If you leave one country on one passport and attempt to enter the UK on another without a clean, matching record, the system can flag an inconsistency. Automated checks may question your travel history, residency pattern, or even your identity. These checks are coordinated through databases linked to the UK Home Office, and once a mismatch appears, the process slows or stops completely. What shocks people is how easy this mistake is. Booking a ticket under one nationality, entering a country with another, renewing one passport but not updating linked records. Even name differences between passports can create confusion. At the airport, staff don't investigate the story, they see an alert. And alerts mean delays, questioning, or denial of boarding. The protection here is clarity and consistency. Always use your British passport when entering the UK. Make sure your booking details match the passport you intend to travel with. If your name differs across documents, update records where possible and carry supporting proof. If you've lived abroad long-term, review how your travel history appears across systems. In a digital border world, mixed signals look like risk. Ask yourself this carefully. If your two nationalities were reviewed side by side today, would your travel history make perfect sense or raise questions you can't answer at the gate? If you never want to face the shock of being locked out of your own country, subscribe now, because staying informed today could protect your right to return home tomorrow. Number 7. Living abroad too long can raise red flags. Many British citizens believe they can live abroad for as long as they want and still return home without issue. But after April 2026, that assumption may no longer be safe. Extended periods outside the UK can quietly trigger questions about residency, intent, and national ties, especially when combined with digital border monitoring. Here's why this matters. Modern border systems don't just check passports, they analyze patterns. Long absences, repeated long-term stays overseas, or years spent working abroad can raise silent alerts in automated systems. These patterns are reviewed alongside tax records, address histories, and benefit data coordinated with agencies linked to the UK Home Office. When records suggest weak ongoing ties to the UK, additional scrutiny can follow. What makes this unsettling is that no one sends a warning saying, "You've been gone too long." People only discover the issue when questioned at the border or delayed during boarding. In some cases, citizens returning for emergencies, family illness, job loss, or crises face intense questioning, long delays, or referral for further checks. While citizenship itself cannot be removed at the airport, entry can be delayed or obstructed, leaving people stranded in legal limbo. The practical step is documentation and awareness. Maintain clear evidence of your connection to the UK, a registered address, tax records, bank activity, and clear travel timelines. If you live abroad long-term, keep proof of intention to return and ties that remain active. In an automated system, absence without context looks like abandonment. So pause and ask yourself, if a system reviewed how long you've been away, would it clearly show that Britain is still home, or leave room for doubt? If you never want to face the shock of being locked out of your own country, subscribe now, because staying informed today could protect your right to return home tomorrow. Number 8. Emergency powers that temporarily override citizen access. In moments of crisis, rules change fast, and citizens often assume they are immune. After April 2026, expanded emergency powers tied to public health, national security, or large-scale disruptions could temporarily restrict entry, even for British citizens. These measures are designed for speed, not comfort, and they can activate with little public notice. Here's how this plays out. During emergencies, governments rely on exception clauses that allow rapid controls at borders. These controls are enforced through automated systems, airline instructions, and temporary directives coordinated by the UK Home Office. If a measure is active, airlines may be instructed to deny boarding to certain travelers until additional checks are completed, sometimes based on location, timing, or documentation rather than citizenship alone. What makes this especially unsettling is duration creep. Measures introduced as temporary can be extended quietly, revised, or replaced with new guidance. Travelers often learn about restrictions only at check-in when staff say, "We can't clear you today." There's rarely a desk to argue your case. The priority is risk reduction, not individual convenience. Families traveling for emergencies can find themselves stranded while systems update. The practical response is preparation, not panic. Monitor official travel advisories, confirm airline instructions close to departure, and carry complete documentation. If traveling during uncertain periods, allow flexibility, earlier check-ins, refundable tickets, and contingency plans. Keep proof of residence, purpose of travel, and onward arrangements ready. In emergency frameworks, clarity and readiness reduce friction. Ask yourself this: if a temporary rule activated tonight, would you know where to check? And would you be ready to comply without losing your journey? If you never want to face the shock of being locked out of your own country, subscribe now, because staying informed today could protect your right to return home tomorrow. Number 9. Administrative errors you can't fix at the airport. One of the most frustrating and common reasons citizens get blocked is simple administrative error. Not fraud, not wrongdoing, just wrong data in the system. After April 2026, with heavier reliance on automated checks, even a small mistake in a database can stop a journey instantly, and there is often no way to fix it on the spot. Here's how these errors happen. A passport renewal that didn't fully sync. An old address still attached to your profile. A name spelled differently across records. A date of birth entered incorrectly years ago. These details live in interconnected systems used by airlines and border authorities working with the UK Home Office. When systems cross-check your details in seconds, any mismatch can trigger a block. The gate doesn't open. The boarding pass fails. Staff see an alert and must stop the process. What makes this so stressful is timing. Airports are not help desks. Airline staff cannot correct government records. Border officers often can't override automated flags immediately. Appeals, corrections, or data fixes usually require formal requests, identity verification, and waiting periods that take days or weeks. Meanwhile, your flight leaves, and you're stuck explaining a problem you didn't create. The only real defense is prevention. Regularly review your documents and records after renewals or personal changes. Make sure names, dates, and addresses match everywhere. Keep confirmation emails, renewal receipts, and old passports when advised. If you've ever been delayed repeatedly or questioned for system reasons, treat that as a warning sign and investigate early. Ask yourself this honestly. If a database made a mistake about you today, would you even know where to start fixing it before your flight time arrived? If you never want to face the shock of being locked out of your own country, subscribe now, because staying informed today could protect your right to return home tomorrow. Number 10. Quiet policy changes that take effect without warning. The most dangerous reason of all is also the hardest to see. Rules can change without headlines, debates, or public alerts. After April 2026, many border-related decisions will be driven not by new laws passed in Parliament, but by updated guidance, internal policy shifts, and technical instructions that most citizens never read. By the time people notice, the rule is already being enforced. Here's how this happens. Government departments issue operational guidance that changes how existing laws are applied. These updates don't always make the news. They're implemented through software updates, airline briefings, and internal protocols coordinated by the UK Home Office. From the traveler's perspective, nothing looks different until a system denies boarding or an automated gate refuses entry. What makes this especially unsettling is lack of notice. Citizens assume that major changes would come with announcements or transition periods. In reality, many adjustments take effect quietly. A document requirement interpreted more strictly. A validity rule enforced differently. A new risk score added to automated checks. None of this feels dramatic, yet the consequences are immediate. The only protection against silent change is active awareness. Don't rely on what was true last year or even last month. Check official travel guidance before every international trip. Confirm airline rules, document requirements, and border updates close to departure. In a system driven by data and automation, assumptions are dangerous? So ask yourself this carefully. If a rule changed quietly overnight, would you know? Or would you discover it only when your return flight is denied? If you never want to face the shock of being locked out of your own country, subscribe now, because staying informed today could protect your right to return home tomorrow. As we reach the end of this video, one message should be clear. Modern borders are no longer simple checkpoints. They are complex systems powered by data, automation, and quiet policy shifts. Being a British citizen still gives you the right to belong, but it no longer guarantees a smooth return if something goes wrong in the system. After April 2026, small details, passport validity, data accuracy, travel patterns, and silent rule changes can suddenly matter more than most people ever imagined. What makes this situation unsettling is not fear, but unawareness. Most people affected are not criminals, rule breakers, or careless travelers. They are ordinary citizens returning from work trips, family emergencies, or long stays abroad. The problems don't come with warnings. They appear at check-in counters, automated gates, and system screens that simply say no. And when that happens, fixing the issue is rarely instant. But knowledge gives you power. Preparation is your strongest protection. Checking your passport early, keeping records consistent, monitoring official guidance, and understanding how automated systems work can prevent last-minute disasters. The future of travel isn't about arguing your case. It's about making sure nothing in your profile raises questions before you ever reach the airport. If this video made you stop and think, that's exactly the point. Share it with someone who travels, lives abroad, or holds dual nationality. And if you found value here, support the channel by subscribing. Every video we make is designed to help people avoid situations they never thought could happen, until they do. Stay alert, stay informed, and never assume that citizenship alone will handle everything for you.